Hey friends, greetings. My name is Jose, and I wanted to share with you what happened to me 37 years ago. I'm 61 years of age now, but people tend to forget that I was 25 not that long ago. I grew up in the Virgin Islands. I came from Cuba, grew up in the Virgin Islands. And in 1972, I was accepted at Vanderbilt University for my undergraduate work. And I, like a lot of young people, been drinking, partying, dating, all the stuff that young people do. And I got to Vanderbilt, and immediately my friends were especially smoking a lot of weed, a lot of pot. So I immediately got into the whole scene of drugs and a lot of partying, a lot of drinking. And like I said, I never came from a household where we talked about God, never went to church, never prayed, never read the Bible. And come here. This is my dog Teddy. Just say hi to the camera, Ted. Got to college, started to party, and I started to date a girl there, and she had a lot of emotional problems. And one night she took a bottle of pills, passed out on the phone, and she almost died. I was able to run over to her dormitory, and the RA was able to open up the door to her room, and they made her vomit, and she was okay. But that started with a time of my life with tremendous tension. I was getting chest pains, chest palpitations, insomnia at nighttime, and so scared that I decided to go to the university nurse the next day. My brother George, who is now dead, he died 15 years ago. He was a Christian back in those days, and I was so scared. I was lying in my little room at Vanderbilt with the lights out, and George came in and he said to me, "Why don't you pray to Jesus to heal you?" I never prayed in my whole life. So he left the room, and I looked up at that ceiling and I said, "God, if you're there, God, if you're real, whoever you are, please heal me." And I felt an invisible hand come down from heaven, and it did like a surgery. It was a spiritual surgery. It went into my chest, and as it went into my chest, I passed out. And that in itself was a miracle, because I had not been able to sleep for about 2 weeks. The next day, I missed the alarm to go to the college nurse. I woke up, I was totally healed. No more pain, no more chest pains, no more anxiety. I said, wow, that's really amazing. I said, I must have had an encounter with some God here, with God. That's all I knew. My brother had been hanging out with a Christian college ministry called Campus Crusade for Christ. So I started to hang out with them. What really impacted me about them was the love and the kindness that they had towards me, and the peace and the love that they had, that I could not understand what it was, but that really impressed me. But then I asked the leader, I said, if I follow God, will I have to give up partying and sex and drugs and all that stuff? And he was very nice. He said to me, eventually you are. I said, well, forget it. I said, I don't want to follow God because I don't want to stop dating women, and I don't want to stop taking drugs. So I walked away. Well, I spent 5 more years partying, drugs, drinking, all that whole scene. I got so messed up and so burned out. I felt that my mind became a vegetable. I dropped out of Vanderbilt and went back to Miami, Florida, where my parents were living. My parents were in the middle of getting a divorce after 28 years of life. My life was an absolute wreck. I had had a very bad speech impediment when I was growing up back in Cuba. Meanwhile, in one of the bars that I was going to, I met a married woman who had an agreement with her husband that they could go out one time a month with another man. So I started to date her and blah, blah, blah. But my whole life really sunk. I did not have a job. I felt that I was hitting the rock bottom of my life. I went to the psychologist who was now living in Miami, who had treated me in Cuba for my speech impediment. And I said to her, she looked at me and she said, Jose, get close to God. And when she said that, a light hit me, it seemed. And I remembered what had happened to me 5 years earlier back at Vanderbilt. And I was really desperate. I had a part-time job as a filing clerk with my father in his business. And there was an empty church there. And I started to go to this empty church by myself. It was open every single day. I got on my knees and I said, God, whoever you are, I don't know anything about you. Help me, because I think that my life is sinking. I went there for about 9 or 10 days and nothing. There was no answer. About the 9th or 10th day, suddenly a presence came upon me. And it was the presence of pure love. I said, whoever this presence is, I know that this presence loves me. He is not going to play mind games with me. He's not going to mess me up. He's not going to stab me in the back as to how other women had done. I said, man, this presence is pure love. And it drew me every single day to go during my lunch hour to the empty church and pray. And this presence would meet me. Before that, I had been searching. I'd been reading, I had bought some tarot cards. I'd been doing some tarot cards. I really was an agnostic. I wouldn't call myself an atheist, but I just thought that if God was there, He was some kind of a force up there. I had been reading some of the Hindu books, you know, delving into Confucius, all that kind of stuff. And one day this presence gave me a hunger. I can say it was a hunger in my heart to buy a Bible. Never read the Bible my whole life. I went to a Christian bookstore that was close by. I bought myself a Bible, an easy translation, a living Bible. I went home and it seemed like everything was real. Everything was in colors. Everything in the Bible made sense. The only time I had read the Bible was those Gideon King James Bibles that you find like in a hotel room. And that had been boring. But I said, mine, everything came to life, and I would spend hours in the Bible and everything was making sense. And I realized that I had had an encounter with Jesus Christ. And from that encounter, everything radically changed. I did not meet any Christians or any pastors for 3 years. I learned my relationship with God came by myself. So I just wanted to share this story with you, because I know there's many people out there that are saying, well, you know what, either God doesn't exist or how do you know that it is Jesus? I said, well, listen, man, I came from the same boat that all of you guys came. I mean, I was no different. And this was not religion. I did not go to a church. I did not go to a pastor. I did not go to a priest. This was an encounter where God met me and God revealed Himself to me as Jesus Christ. And He can do the same thing for you. If you don't know who God is, you need to say, well, God, you know, give me proof of who you are. Let me just counsel you. If you go with a debative and challenging mind, if your thing is to challenge and to debate and to argue, God might not answer you, because one thing that God works through is through humility. You know, there has to be a certain amount of respect and humility. And if you come and you say, God, you know, I don't know anything about you, I don't believe in you, but if you're real, show yourself to me. I guarantee you that He will. It might not happen in the second that you want it to happen. It might not happen in the way that you want it to happen, but God is faithful, and God will meet you. So I want to finish this by telling you, I would love to take whatever questions you guys have. I might not answer all of them. I'll do my best. I would love to be able to interact with you. I've been interacting a little bit on Twitter to some atheist people, and though I disagree with them, I really think that they really have excellent questions and excellent points. Some are mocking. I can't deal with a person that is just going to mock, but if you have questions that are on your mind, legitimate questions, you want to have a legitimate discussion, I'm here for you. Well, my friends, thank you, and hope to see you soon. God bless.